What's up everybody, and welcome to the Dinosaur Dungeon. So I thought I'd make a little video about the Anycubic Photon Mono. I've been wanting to talk about it for a while now, but like any products I use, I kind of like to play around with them for a while before I give any initial thoughts about them. So I'm going to explain a little bit about this machine and what I think about it, and pretty much what it does. So I've kind of been interested in 3D printing for a while now. A few years ago I joined up to a Kickstarter in which somebody was offering resin 3D printed dinosaur skulls, and this here, let me just bring in these little light. This was one of the ones that I got from the Kickstarter, and I was actually blown away by the detail. Now I don't know what this printer was that printed this, but I was blown away by it. And one of the things that I wanted to do was use this for sculpting, like to use 3D printed skulls for sculpting, because sometimes when you're sculpting the skull it takes a long time. So, and I thought if I could get accurate scanned skulls, I could make my sculpture more accurate. That's why there's a tape on this, so that it will be, this is actually part of an armature now for a Carnotaurus that I do plan on sculpting in the future. So the thing is, at the time when I received this resin skull, I was looking into 3D printing, and it was actually quite expensive at the time, especially resin 3D printing. I actually had a friend who bought a large 3D printer that was resin, and it was like $5,000 or something along those lines back in like maybe 2017, 2018. But the cool thing is that it has come down significantly since then. And last year I was noticing that the Anycubic brand was starting to produce really good quality machines at a very affordable price. So last spring, or maybe early summer it was, I jumped on this deal that I found on the website, and it arrived really quickly, and I was super excited to try it out. So this is the Anycubic Photon Mono, so that means it has a monochrome screen, which apparently is what helps it to print a lot faster than the old traditional colored screens. This would be the entry level into 3D printing for sure. It doesn't print huge pieces, but it actually prints at a really good size, especially for the things that I want to do with it. So this print here, I've got a full animal in the print bed. I'm gonna see if I can come along to the side and you can see, because I wanted to show this in action. That's actually why I'm doing this video right now. And you can see that it raises up and lowers down, and pretty much I think takes an image of each line, and that's the whole method for printing. It kind of semi-cures each layer. I'm not too up on the lingo for 3D printing, but that's basically what it's doing, and then creates a three-dimensional image. And then you have to use a UV light or a wash and cure station in order to finish curing the resin. I guess in the hot summer you could put it out in the sunlight and it would do that as well. Also, I'd just like to quickly mention about resin. So there are different kinds of resin. When I first got this printer, I just bought the standard Anycubic resin, and it worked really well. Actually, while I talk about resin, I'm going to come over here to some things. So I printed all these different things plus more over the last year. So this here is the first thing I ever printed on it. I didn't even bother doing the test piece. This is a Teratophoneus skull, which I found on ArtStation, and it was free. And my goodness, for the first print and no fail, like spectacular. Like look at the detail in this guy. So you can see right away, you know, and it was like, it wasn't hard to set up the machine or anything, but that was done with just the standard resin. Same with this, which I also found on ArtStation. This is a Euplocephalus. So you can see these are the first two prints I ever did, and it was pretty easy. So what I did is I'll bring it over here, so you can see the USB on the side here. So I just simply loaded it up onto this USB from the computer, plug it in, and you can see it's actually working now for the 3D print that's in it. And it pretty much was hanging like this in the bed and doing exactly what it's doing now. So, and then after that I decided to try some different resins. So these two big ones at the back, this one's in the middle of being painted because I'm trying to paint it all the same color to do the seams. But you can see, so these two here were done with a plant-based resin, and that stuff was actually really good. I liked it. And then this is the Anycubic Eco resin, which also is very nice. I don't really like the color. I probably wouldn't buy that color again, just simply because it is very hard to see the detail even when you're actually holding it. I also use that for this piece. And again, you can see it still comes out beautifully though. This piece I actually messed up because I should have printed it differently. And so that it actually has a jaw, but the jaw got too many supports. As you can see inside, I messed up and put way too many supports in this one. So that was on me. But it's still printed, there was no print fail. And one thing I actually learned that I will share that I did not know, but it appears to be so. If you use two different resins, like with this guy, I used this yellow just for the hips, and it did not fit with the rest of the animal. I think, and I'm just looking into this now, but I guess there's different like shrinkage levels and stuff that goes along with whatever particular resin. Now, it wasn't too far out of whack. It wasn't, because I'm a sculptor, I know how to put it together, so I'm going to come in and blend these seams a little more and make them fit nice and neat. But so I would suggest, if you're going to print something in multiple parts, make sure you have the same resin for the whole animal. So I will also put links down below to where you can find some of these. The ArtStation ones, I'm not sure. They're freebies though, and you can search up dinosaur skull on ArtStation. But for this little Microceratops, the Pachyrhinosaurus, and this little Ankylosaur or Nodosaur, I'll put some links down for that. I also just want to say that this StinoRes primer from Badger also works really well on these. Like, as you can see, the coverage is great. So I'm just you properly airbrush. That's just like put on with a sponge just to see the seams. But with an airbrush and some StinoRes, it seals it up really nice. You get a beautiful prime on that, and that one's all ready for paint. So as you can see, for an entry-level 3D resin printer, I mean, you can't go wrong. I think I paid a year ago like thinking $275, $280 maybe USD. I'm in Canada, so it was over $300 for me, but I think now it's even cheaper. I think it's actually, oh no, I'm sorry. It was $230 American. So it was what, $280 Canadian. And now it's probably even cheaper. So, I mean, you cannot go wrong with this resin printer, and it is super easy. The setup is literally putting a piece of paper in, leveling it. As you can see, there's one black dial right there, and you just unscrew that. That takes the build plate off. One thing I will say, gloves and mask, always. Always use your gloves and a mask. Some of the resin doesn't smell as bad as others, but it's still all dangerous to get on you. So use safety for sure. You just use a trowel here. This is my trowel that I scrape the prints off the bed. And then I have a plastic trowel. And that cleans the vat. The vat is what is holding the liquid resin. So anyway, it's not really an in-depth review because I'm not an expert on 3D printing, at least not yet. I would love to be and probably will in the future, but this is definitely my impressions. And if you want to get into 3D printing for purposes like me to sculpt over top of skeletons and stuff like that, or also simply to add to your collection, it is a simple way of doing it. And fun. And one thing I will say is that with things like this is, I'm actually printing these for somebody, and these are part of a subscription. I think he pays $20 a month or something like that, and each month he gets one of these cool dinosaurs. And I think this one was solid, so I should have hollowed it out, but even solid, it's probably less than a big bottle, so probably $48 for a model that size. You'd probably pay $150, $200 for a real resin kit that size. And you've got this one, so for $20 a month. This one here was probably $10 in resin. So, and like I said, and you could hollow these out. This would probably be $10, $12 in resin if you hollowed it out. And these, a lot of these, because they're hollow, they were nothing. Like, you know, you print one of these guys for a couple of dollars, prime it and paint it up. And then there's I think one called like Loot Crate or something like that. There's a whole bunch of well-known ones, so you can also get endless miniatures and larger stuff like that. So I'm definitely recommending the Anycubic Photon Mono. They do have larger ones out there, and hopefully when budgets permit, I will be able to get the Anycubic Photon Mono X 4K, which is, I think, probably about 3 times the size of this one, and then I'll be able to print much larger prints, but that's gonna have to wait for the future. But as soon as I'm able to pick one up, I will definitely throw it on the channel and give it a review or first impressions video as well. Anyway guys, thanks for checking this out, and hopefully I'll be back with some new content soon. I know I've been kind of away from it for a while, but I definitely want to get into some new content soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. Alright, so last night I was filming a video on the Anycubic Photon Mono, and I actually forgot to talk about one thing, and that is the slicing software. So although I highly recommend the 3D printer itself, I'm not too keen on the software. I'm just going to zoom out here and then come back in so I can show you a couple of things. So I will quickly explain how it works and explain some other options as well, just so that you're well informed. So as you can see, this gray right here is the size of the print bed. So this gray part here on the skull means it's too large to print. So we can go right over here, and that is our scale. Hit fit maximum, and it automatically makes it the size of the bed. Now remember, it is taller than it is wide, so I could tilt this skull up and make it bigger, and then you just click on some of these other buttons. That there is to rotate it, so I'd probably put it up on an angle. That's to move it around on the print bed. And then over here you would click that part to make supports, which I'm not going to do, but I just figured I'd give you a basic rundown. Now I notice it is a little glitchy, like if you go up to click, you can see that it doesn't actually pull down any menu or do anything. I'm not sure why that is, so I'm sure that's something Anycubic will address in a future update. But there is other slicing software. Another one that I do use down here in my other computer is the Lychee software, and I like it. I find it a little bit better, actually. I think it does better supports. Now, some of the things that it's probably not going to do quite as well is give you exact times for printing and stuff like that. But you can mess around with it a little bit and get some of that stuff for yourself. So I'm not actually going to show you how to use the software. It's pretty self-explanatory, but both of them work. I've done most with this, and then I've also done some with this software. So there's, like I said, there's many different, a few different ones, and Lychee's good. It's the one I like. I haven't tried the Cheechoo box yet. I think that's the other main one. But anyway, just wanted to let you know that you need slicing software in order to use the Resin 3D printer and get it set up the way that you like. So anyway, thanks for checking this out, and I will come back with some more videos soon. Thanks for watching.